Is Spider-Man Brand New Day the best Spider-Man film? Let's discuss. Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, then welcome on in. My name is Jake, glad to have you here. As you will see from the title, in this video we are going to be ranking all 11 Spider-Man films. Remember, this is just my opinion, so as much as I encourage you to share yours down in the comments, please do not come at me, please do not attack me. This is just my thoughts, it doesn't mean it's the correct ones to have. To be clear, this will include the original 3 Spider-Man movies from Sam Raimi. We have the 2 Mark Webb Amazing Spider-Man films that starred Andrew Garfield. We're going to have all of Tom Holland's solo adventures in the MCU. And we're going to throw in the currently 2 available animated Spider-Man films as well. We're not going to include the last one because it's not out yet, obviously. And we're not going to include any of the extended Sonyverse titles. So all your Madam Webs, your Kraven the Hunters, your Morbiuses, they can get out of here, and you know where they'd be anyway. They'd be at the bottom of the list. Last thing before I get started, please do go ahead, click that subscribe button, like the video, and we can get on with the ranking. Let's do it. Coming on in at number 11 is Spider-Man 3, which was released in 2007. It's cringy, it's hilarious, it's a bit ridiculous. This movie is partially a comedy, though I'm unsure if that was Sam Raimi's original intention. I'm guessing not.
I'm gonna kick your little ass.
Peter Parker, although hilarious as Tobey Maguire, is just so unlikable in this movie. I know that that's to do with the symbiote having that effect on him, but kissing Gwen Stacy in front of Mary Jane is just so disheartening to watch because, as we'll talk about with the other films in the Tobey Maguire series, I love them two together as a couple, and I don't like the way they were treated in this movie. Overall, there's just far too much going on. The villain, of course, we've got Flint Marko / Sandman. We've also got Eddie Brock / Venom. We've also got Harry Osborn / Green Goblin. It's just far too much. I just felt as if I had to keep alternating between all of their stories throughout the film. There was never one streamlined plot throughout the whole thing. It's no secret that development of this film was a bit messy, and it's clear from the final product that we actually get. I know that Raimi originally wanted to have just 2 villains, which of course was Harry and Sandman. He wasn't too interested in having Venom in there, but the studio really wanted to have him in, so we end up with this just horrible mess of villains that really don't work together as a trio.
How'd that get in there?
Obviously, we'll discover later that you can have multiple villains in the same movie and it will work perfectly. That was not the case here. There were just too many people getting involved going, add this, add this. There's more to the villains, of course. We've got Mary Jane, we've got Gwen Stacy, we've got Aunt May. Each have their good moments within the film, but they're already crammed into an already busy movie. I'm also not a big fan of the Uncle Ben murder retcon either, although I did, for the most part, enjoy Sandman as a character. He is probably my favourite antagonist, and the ending where he's forgiven by Peter is a welcome change from the deaths of every other villain, that's already faced him, of course, them being Norman Osborn and Otto Octavius from the first 2 movies. Still, falling into a particle accelerator is a little bit ridiculous, and I don't know if it completely works, but fair enough. Overall, I'm giving Spider-Man 3 a rating of 3.5 stars. I'm fully aware that's probably a little bit higher than it deserves, but I've got to give extra points for Tobey Maguire because he did make me laugh.
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door!
Coming into the top 10 then is The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was released in 2014. I'll start with the big one, the most jaw-dropping moment. It's when they killed Gwen Stacy. It was such a bold move for the film to do, and although it was gut-wrenching and very unexpected, it does elevate the movie in my ranking. I think if they didn't do that, it would probably be behind Spider-Man 3.
Stay with me, stay with me. You stay with me.
The notion of Peter Parker dating the late Captain Stacy's daughter and how he feels incredibly guilty in doing so continues into this film after the events of the last one. He's trying to balance his identity, but Gwen's tragic fate ultimately leaves him distraught. It's not as enjoyable to watch as their sort of unmatched chemistry that Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone had in the first film. I love seeing the budding romance there, but they do still have some great moments throughout this film. Green Goblin as an antagonist though I found was less impressive. I guess that's to be expected since you can't really follow Willem Dafoe's stellar performance in the original Spider-Man film from 2002, so instead I think Harry actually just comes across as a bit silly. I just wasn't a big fan of Dane DeHaan's performance.
Harry is dead!
Electro was okay, but he did come across at times a little bit goofy. In fact, the dialogue in this film I think could have been uplifted a little bit. It did make me laugh a few times, probably when it shouldn't have. Some standouts include Harry Osborn just stating, "I don't know how and I don't know why, but he can do everything a spider can." Like, bit on the nose. And then Max Dillon, Electro, of course played by Jamie Foxx, simply declaring his new persona with the statement of, "I'm Electro." Spider-Man 3 showed that overstuffing Spider-Man films with villains does not work, and this film just proves that even further. Overall, I'm giving it the same rating as Spider-Man 3, which is 3.5 stars. Coming in at number 9 is The Amazing Spider-Man, released in 2012, and of course the first of the two Andrew Garfield adventures. As I've already said, Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone have such convincing chemistry. They were obviously dating at the time, so I'm sure that helped, but it makes them one of the best Spider-Man pairings, maybe even the best, certainly one of the best in any Marvel property that I've ever seen.
Just get out of here.
Lizard, though, again, it's a bit of a recurring theme with the villains thus far, was less impressive than I remember from when I first watched the film the first time. Not terrible, but it just came across a little bit silly, kind of in the same realms as Electro, but more so just when he was in his creature form. It's definitely hard to follow the greats like Green Goblin and Doc Ock. Again, we will get to them later on in the list.
Where to hide, Peter?
I thought Andrew was my least favourite Spider-Man, though this film did make me reconsider. He does play Peter Parker so well, and I'm just glad I'm not ranking all of the Spider-Man actors, because I think I would have a hard time doing that. There's an argument to be had that although Andrew Garfield doesn't have the best films of all the Spider-Man movies, he might actually be the best Peter Parker / Spider-Man. I'm not saying that, I'm not committing to anything at the moment, I'm just saying it's certainly a debate that can be had. The web swinging in this movie also, I think until we get to Spider-Man Brand New Day, might actually be the best iteration we had gotten thus far. Overall, I'm going slightly above the previous two films, and I'm giving The Amazing Spider-Man a ranking of 4 stars. Number 8 on my list, I have got the first Tom Holland Spider-Man adventure, which is Spider-Man Homecoming, released in 2017. Of course, this is not counting his initial appearance in Captain America Civil War. This is his first solo movie, and it's very much a high school movie. The movies, as we go along with Tom Holland, do mature as we follow his journey, but right now we're still in that juvenile stage.
I say penis, you say bunker!
It feels like a coming of age movie, and rightfully so. I also like that we don't get the Peter Parker origin story again. We've had it twice already, and the studio here very much read the room and just skipped onto the good stuff. I like his relationship with Ned, and I think MJ is used sparingly but effectively, because it helps with the big reveal of her actual name at the end of the film. Of course, it doesn't need to be said, but Michael Keaton as Vulture is brilliant, with that scene in the car being one of Marvel's best reveals that they've ever done. Vulture could really be one of the most difficult comic book villains to pull off, yet Homecoming does it so well. It's just a shame that he's now doomed in the Sonyverse to hang up with Morbius, which makes absolutely no sense.
Has to do with Spider-Man, I think.
Also, Gwyneth Paltrow's in this movie. Do you remember? Because hilariously, she doesn't.
Remember we were on Spider-Man?
We weren't in Spider-Man.
Yes, we were.
Homecoming.
You were in Spider-Man.
No.
Yeah.
I was in Avengers.
I'm giving Spider-Man Homecoming a rating of 4 stars. Number 7 on the list is Spider-Man Far From Home, released in 2019. So many people are very quick to hate on this film, and they've got a lot lower on their list than I do. I just don't share that opinion. I think Mysterio works as a definitive bad guy.
The chance of getting hit is...
Fire all the drones now!
And whilst many people criticise the film for relying too much on Iron Man, obviously he first appeared in Homecoming, he has a lingering effect on this film, I think that makes total sense given the relationship that Peter had with him. They're not just going to gloss over that. You know, after Iron Man suffered his fate in Endgame, it would be silly to just move on and not have Peter deal with the repercussions of his sacrifice. The movie, of course, still does have its problems, I will admit that. We've got the questionable Skrull reveal with Nick Fury and Maria Hill as well. And then we've got Peter Parker being asked to take his clothes off in front of a stranger.
Take off your clothes.
I do need to take a moment and talk about the visuals of the film. I want to acknowledge that because it does look really, really good when we've got all the drone sequences. Of course, we don't obviously know it's drones throughout. We do think it's the elemental creatures, but it does, I think, rival Doctor Strange at times for how good the look of the film actually looks and the effects that they're able to pull off. Also, we've got the ending of the film. We've got the big reveal that Spider-Man, Mysterio reveals to the world his actual identity. That's through, of course, the welcome return of J. Jonah Jameson, of course, played by J.K. Simmons. Altogether, it just makes for a jaw-dropping moment.
Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker.
Overall, I'm giving Spider-Man Far From Home a rating of 4 stars. Just missing out on the top 5, at number 6 we have Sam Raimi's original Spider-Man movie from 2002. And I did a review of or a ranking rather, of all the Spider-Man films on my TikTok. Go follow it, it's J like the letter. I did a ranking a few weeks ago, and I actually had this film higher above some of the other ones, but after reconsidering, I've moved it down to here. We'll get into the reasons why I've placed the films above this in their relative positions soon. But let's talk about the original Spider-Man, because it's obviously an iconic movie. We've got Tobey Maguire making his debut as Peter Parker / Spider-Man, and it's proof that not all pre-MCU movies are complete garbage.
His name was Ben Parker.
Again, I talked about how Andrew Garfield might be my favourite Spider-Man, but Tobey Maguire here might take that spot away from him. And of course, we've got Tom Holland. They're all good. They're all good. I'm just trying to say that Tobey Maguire has got sometimes just such a softness in the way that he plays Peter.
I'm a photographer.
Obviously, we do get angry Peter later in Spider-Man 3, but here he just has that charm about him, and slightly even a bit comedic at times as well. Having Willem Dafoe in the film as well as Green Goblin just doesn't even feel real that we got that.
You know how much I sacrificed?
He's outstanding, and I can imagine how many children were probably genuinely frightened at his menacing and maniacal portrayal when the film came out over 20 years ago. Yeah, the costume he wears does seem a little bit goofy, and this film itself, a lot of it doesn't hold up very well. Some of it is a bit outdated. I think that's abundantly clear when we get to the parade sequence when Green Goblin flies into the New York streets, and the whole look of the film just looks a little bit fake. Willem Dafoe though does give a performance that I think transcends all of that, and that's a reason why both he and the movie, I think, has become a staple of superhero cinema history.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Kirsten Dunst's Mary Jane is someone that I feel sometimes gets forgotten about in the present day. Zendaya gets a lot of love, and as she should, and she's obviously our present day MJ, but her on-screen chemistry here with Maguire just makes her, again in my opinion, perhaps one of the best love interests for our live-action Spider-Man. Overall, I'm giving Spider-Man 1, the original one, a 4.5 star rating. Coming in at number 5 then, I have got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It was released in 2023, and recently moved up in my rankings when I watched the film again. It's very much on par with the first iteration in the animated Spider-Man films, which I will get into later on in the list, and it's got some excellent twists that I forgot were even coming when I rewatched the film recently. The voice cast is also perfect, and again, there's some great casting. Marvel Studios, obviously this is a Sony production, but Marvel Studios would do well to note that in a multiverse film, it's important to explore connections to other universes, and Sony did just that here. Andrew Garfield and Donald Glover, hello, thank you for your cameos. The multiverse itself is often hailed as a mistake for Marvel. Yes, they've done it well at times, most notably in Spider-Man No Way Home, but many are quick to say that the multiverse concept itself is just too confusing for general audiences. Well, Across the Spider-Verse takes the multiverse that was established in Into the Spider-Verse and develops it flawlessly. I was never confused, and I don't think anyone else would be either. It's a bold thing to undertake, and yet all comes across very clear.
Wait, hold on. There's an elite society with all the best spider people in it?
I just can't really criticize Across the Spider-Verse. It's now at that point in the list where all the films I just think are pure greatness. I don't have much to say on the animated films compared to the live action, but that doesn't make them any lesser in quality. Hence, it achieves this position on the list, and I'm giving it a rating of 4.5 stars. We're almost at the top 3, but first of all, number 4 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which was released in 2018. It's funny, I'd only ever seen this once before rewatching it, and I remember it being mediocre.
That's not fair!
I was completely wrong. Visually pleasing, again, excellent voice cast, and a tight story structure with lots of fun references to the wider Marvel universe of characters. It's at times like this where I'm glad that I've seen all of Marvel. Kingpin as a villain was good, but I'm glad I've seen Daredevil because I understood his motivations a lot better, his relationship with Vanessa, than I would if I'd viewed this film in isolation. Miles is obviously great as well, and we've got Catherine Hahn as
Dr. Olivia Octavius.
Just the perfect voice actress and a nice twist on a traditionally male character. Moment of appreciation for Haley Steinfeld as well. She's easily becoming one of my favourites in this era of cinema, off the back of her appearance as Kate Bishop, and then we've got her work in Sinners as well. Spider-Gwen is so likeable, and I would love to see a live-action version of that someday. What this film really excels at though is using different types of animation all together in the same scenes, whether that's Spider-Pig or Penny Parker or Spider-Noir. No, not the version from the Sony or the Amazon show, although I am watching that right now, and it's really good. Highly recommend. Also, fun note, I actually got to see this film in a live orchestra earlier this year, so yeah, that's maybe I'm a bit biased and elevating this up even higher, but it is a great film. It gets the same rating as the previous animated film, 4.5 stars.
I just washed my hands, that's why they're wet.
Taking the bronze medal is Spider-Man Brand New Day, obviously just released in cinemas. I've already done a review on this, so I'm not going to go into repeating all of my thoughts. To give you a quick summary, I liked that we gave the people of New York some substance, and that reminded me of the Raimi movies. Sadie Sink, no discredit to Tom Holland, who I thought was amazing, but Sadie Sink was the standout of the movie. For me, loved her story, loved her performance, and great setup for future Marvel movies. Love Punisher, the way that he bounced off Peter Parker, and John Bernthal and Tom Holland's relationship. It was nice to see that transferred onto the screen. I love the MCU connections we got. I think the pacing was a little bit slow at sometimes. I also have a hot take that MJ and Ned didn't need to be in this movie. I know, crazy thing to say. If you want to see more of my thoughts on all of that, then go and watch my Spider-Man Brand New Day review, which I put up around 10 days ago. Overall though, I'm giving it a rating of 4.5 stars. Just missing out on the top spot, and of course you'll be able to figure out what I've got at number 1 when I reveal this, but at number 2 is Spider-Man 2, which came out in 2004. Willem Dafoe might get more mentions as being one of the most memorable Spider-Man villains, but Doc Ock I think is right up there, of course played by Alfred Molina.
Getting on my nerves.
I have a knack for that.
I think that's a good reason as to why he was in the first trailer to Spider-Man No Way Home. Otto was the first reveal we actually got, and it worked so well. Going back to this original movie though, we've got Peter himself, and I think Maguire actually continues to give a stellar performance into this film, finding a great balance between Peter and Spidey and the complications that come with having both of those identities. The fight sequences, the action sequences are leveled up from the first film. A lot of that of course is having a bigger budget. The tentacles of Dr. Octopus can be utilised in a fun and visually appealing ways.
I should have known Osborn wouldn't have the spine to finish you.
The train sequence is one of my favourites, though it's the aftermath that I remember a little bit more. When Peter lies there injured, the people of New York promise him that they're not going to reveal his identity to the rest of the world. It's beautiful, and it's something that I recently praised in my Brand New Day reveal for doing again, which is making the people of New York actually feel like characters. Spider-Man Protecting New York only works if we know that New York is actually there, if we know what is actually defending. Overall, it's the first movie on the list that I am giving a 5-star rating.
Pizza time.
Number 1 then, no surprise, is Spider-Man No Way Home. Released in 2021, I am giving this a 5-star rating. I've seen people refer to this film as a gimmick, but to be honest, I think that's a little bit unfair of a word to place on the film. If you want to call it that, then you can, but I think the film works really well. At this point when the film came out, we're a few films into the multiverse saga within the MCU, and this is the first film to really deal with the multiverse concept head on, and I think it really delivered. Yes, you could say that the way that we get to the multiverse shenanigans in the first place is a little bit flimsy, to the point where people were theorizing in the trailers that it wasn't actually Doctor Strange doing the spell because he would not mess something up like that so badly. I get it, and maybe they could have found a way around that, but it's really the only gripe I have with the film. Yes, I'll admit, nostalgia plays a big role here, definitely, but that is a great way to grab audience attention, especially when it's executed well. Everyone in this film has a reason for being there. Tobey and Andrew in particular, they're not just there to be like, look, they're all together, all the Spider-Man are together. No, Amy Pascal, from Sony obviously, has said that they're always trying to include characters that will have an impact on our Peter Parker's journey. That's Tom Holland's one, or wherever we might be in the Spider-Man timeline. Tobey and Andrew though are present in this film because they have a part to play in the narrative. Parker, having lost May, is questioning his ability to be Spider-Man, But these two, the only ones who know what he's going through, can help with that and offer their advice.
Great, it's just some random guy.
Hello.
For me, Spider-Man No Way Home is also my favourite ever cinema experience. Nothing has, and I don't know if anything will ever beat it. Fingers crossed for Doomsday, maybe that'll beat it. But right now, it's right at the top for me. If I'm picking a Spider-Man film to watch, this is always going to be my first pick.
This is Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
And that is it. There is my full Spider-Man ranking. If you disagree, let me know. Just again, don't come at me. Please do share your Spider-Man rankings down in the comments below. I would love to know what people think, and I think that's pretty much it. Please do go ahead, as I've said already, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell as well so you're notified when I post a new video. Leave a like, share it, do whatever you gotta do, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.